what Pete Hegseth said. And so the defense secretary is up there yesterday. He's comparing the Easter rescue of this downed U.S. airman over Iran to the resurrection of Jesus Christ. In his account of the rescue operation, he draw parallels between the airman's ordeal and the account of Christ's death and the resurrection given in the Bible. You can watch it right now.
One downed airman evaded capture for more than a day, scaling rugged ridges while hunted by the enemy. When he was finally able to activate his emergency transponder, his first message was simple and it was powerful. He sent a message, God is good. Shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter Sunday. A pilot reborn, all home and accounted for, a nation rejoicing.
Look, I mean, this is a question for Jake. When you frame war in matters of theology, when you have the president mocking Islam in his tweets or Truth Social posts, how does that play with the leadership in Iran? How will they view this war when you have the defense secretary talking like that?
Well, it does two things. First, in a way, it plays into their hands because these guys are theocrats themselves. Right. And so the idea of having a holy war against the great Satan, the United States, and the little Satan, Israel, is core to their identity and core to their argument to their own people who they were just mowing down. You got to back us in this holy war. So it really plays on the turf of the Iranian mullahs and clerics. But secondly, the other thing it does is it makes it clear to the Iranian regime, this is existential for them, that these guys in the United States are just going to keep coming. And so why make any concessions? Why actually get into diplomatic compromise if there's this kind of totalizing rhetoric coming from the other side? So I think it sets back the cause of diplomacy. And from the point of view of whether or not this actually achieves any national security objective of the United States, I didn't hear a word of that in what the secretary said. He, talked in these great allegories. But where is this delivering safety and security for the American people? I think it has clouded the strategic thinking of the United States in this administration.
The rescue was extraordinary. We all talked about it. But Richard, the continued deification, to follow up on what Jake said, and having people coming in, scam preachers, phony preachers coming in saying Donald Trump is Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. It's grotesque. It's just beyond grotesque. Again, I ask, where are my people that I grew up with? Bill Clinton had done this. My God. Barack Obama, Washington would be shut down. I mean, if anybody had done this. And yet, every single day, and what they're doing is, Jake's exactly right. They are turning this into a crusade. They are literally playing right into Iran's hands, right into the Revolutionary Guard's hands.
Absolutely. And again, it works against the idea of compromise. Jake said an important word. For the Iranians, this has become an existential conflict. For us, this is still a limited conflict. It's very hard to prevail in a limited conflict when you're up against someone who basically feels if they lose, they're gone.
Let me give you an example of that, Ukraine.
And to some extent, Vietnam. And for great powers, we've got to think about the entire world. We got a lot of squares on the chessboard. For Iran, this is the entire thing. This is the chessboard. And when we start using this sort of religious language, this just reinforces the sense that this is a fight to the finish. Among other things, let me use a religious metaphor. They then become like Samson. If we're going to bring them down, they're going to bring down the temple. And the temple is the Middle East and through it the global economy. So let's get serious about the stakes here. We keep broadening the stakes in ways that are going to come back and wreck us as well as Iran.
I mean, the blowback, Jake, we got to go to break, but I just have to say this one more time. I keep thinking of Lincoln's words, we cannot escape history, and yet it's as if people in the Trump White House believe history began on January 20th, 2025. Because we've all have the collective memories of what happens. Even before I was born. 1953, what we did in Iran then had a blowback effect. Everything we do in the Middle East, will have a blowback effect. And it's always trying to balance that out. But the idea that they think they can continue doing this and that Israel can wipe out half of Lebanon and Netanyahu can have a forever war because he doesn't want to go to court, he doesn't want to end up in jail, so he just keeps fighting wars. I mean, at what point? At what point does somebody understand that regardless of how we do militarily in the first stage, and we're only in the first stage here, there's going to be tremendous blowback, like there was in Iraq, like there was in Libya, like there is everywhere we go?
Well, look, I think President Trump ran as the candidate who said, I'm going to not be in Middle Eastern wars.
Right.
Then the 12-day war happens last year, and there isn't a big reaction. Then he does the Maduro raid. And after the Maduro raid in Venezuela, I think he concluded, I can use the American military anywhere, anytime, for any reason, and I'm not going to suffer any consequences. And he forgot, as you put it, every lesson of history because his appetite grew with his eating. And that is why we are in the situation we're in. And he ignored the intelligence professionals who told him how Iran would respond. He ignored, I think, voices in the Pentagon who said we can only do so much militarily. And I think he did that because he saw what happened by bombing Fordo, and he saw what happened by grabbing Maduro, and he decided, hey, I can act with impunity in the world. And now we're all paying the price for that.
Former National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, thank you very much for coming on this morning. And you can listen to Jake on his Vox Media podcast, The Long Game. And Richard